college football playoff rankings for the second week of the college football playoff rankings have been released. We're gonna talk about it. Who's high? Who's low? Who are locks to make the college football playoff? Who's gonna need some help? And who's gonna need some more work to do? We're gonna talk about all that. It's probably gonna dominate today's live stream, the college football playoff. But I also want to talk about the NFL a little bit. The Colts, the Broncos, and the Patriots are the leading teams in the AFC. Have they changed the hierarchy from the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Ravens? Let's discuss that. And who are you buying and who are you selling? Well, let me say, who am I buying and who am I selling in the NFC? We're getting all that today, right here in the Sports Ozone. Big O with the big mouth coming at you on a Wednesday, November 12th, 2025. How you doing? How you doing? You're in the Total Sports Ozone. Now, let's get right into it. As we all know, the college football playoff rankings for the second week were released yesterday. And they are, well, let's take a look at them. Let me get this up here. Let's take a look at them. We're gonna take a look at them. Let me know what you think. We're gonna take a look at these rankings right now and go over them for you. Here we go. Here's the college football playoff rankings for November 11th, 2025, the second week of the college football rankings. We have Cincinnati coming in at 25. USF, that's University of South Florida, which is probably one of the two group of five teams, or group of five, group of six, whatever you call them, has entered the countdown at number 24. Then you have Tennessee at 23. Pittsburgh at 22. They got a big game this weekend. Iowa slipped one to number 21 after their close loss to Oregon at home last weekend. Louisville slipped all the way down to 20th. Virginia slipped down to 19th. And Michigan, that team up north, moved up from 21, I believe, to 18. USC is now 17. Georgia Tech moved up a couple of notches to 16. Miami is at 15. Vanderbilt's hanging in there at 14. You got Utah at number 13. BYU, who was 7th last week, but they took a nasty loss this week and they fell down to 12th. Oklahoma is at 11. Got the University of Texas back in the top 10 at number 10. Notre Dame at number 9. Oregon actually slipped one. They were 7th last week. No, actually, they were 6th last week. And they slipped to 8th because of the close escape to Iowa. I'll talk about that. Ole Miss went up to 7th. Texas Tech, after that beatdown they served BYU, moved into the top 6 at number 6. And the same top five are still the same. Georgia at 5, Alabama at 4, A&M at 3, Indiana at 2, and Ohio State leading the way at number 1. Now, let's talk about these rankings. I have no problem. I've been saying it, and I'll say it again. The top 3, you could throw those names in a hat, pull them out, and I would have no problem where they rank 1, 2, or 3. In my Power 5, if you noticed yesterday, my Power 5, I moved Indiana down to 2. Down to 3, and bumped Texas A&M up to 2. The reason why I did it was a close win. They had a narrow escape. Had Omar Cooper Jr. not made that spectacular catch in the end zone, Indiana wouldn't be in the conversation right now. They would definitely not be in the top 10. They'd probably be somewhere where I would say where BYU, Oklahoma, somewhere anywhere from 9 to 13. But they probably more likely would if Omar Cooper had not made that spectacular catch. So, but I have no problem if they were number 1. I really wouldn't. You like I said, the top 3, you can put their names in a hat, close your eyes, reach in there, pull a name out. That's number 1. All 3 of them have arguments for why they should be number 1. All 3 of them. Texas A&M. They went to Notre Dame. They beat them. They've beaten good teams along the way. So you wouldn't have no problem with that. Indiana. Again, they have the Big Ten statement win so far this season, going out to Eugene and beating Oregon. So they have the statement win of the conference right now. There's no doubt about that. No doubt. And then you got Ohio State. They're just doing what they do. Just beating teams. Beating teams. Let me give you stats. I gotta give you stats. I gotta give you stats. I'm gonna give you the stat. You gotta know this. Ohio State has allowed 65 points in 9 games. That's 7.2 points per game. No team is even close. No team in the top, amongst the top 25, amongst the top 5, are even close. The closest to them is Indiana at 12.1. Ohio State is only giving up 7 touchdowns all year. Think about that. They've given up 7 offensive touchdowns all year. Played 9 games. Only 7. 7 touchdowns. They lead the league in yards. They lead the nation in yards allowed. 211 yards allowed. Nobody's defense is better. That's why Ohio State's number 1 to me. I'm not being biased here. I'm not. Yes, I love the Buckeyes. I make no qualms about that. But I'm just going by the stats. I'm going by the numbers. When you have a dominating defense like that, don't give a damn who you play. I don't care what the schedule looks like. I don't care about strength of schedule and strength of record. Oh, by the way, Ohio State's strength of record has gotten better because Texas is now back in the top 10. Remember the team that was preseason number 1 came into the season number 1 and Ohio State beat them? Oh, yeah, they're back in the top 10 somehow, some way. They're back in the top 10, which makes Ohio State's record that much more formidable. Because now they can say they're beating a ranked team. At least one team on their current schedule is ranked, and they're ranked top 10. And Ohio State beat them. So that makes Ohio State's record just a little bit more formidable than Indiana's and A&M's. But forget the records, because they're all undefeated. All 3 undefeated. But this is why I believe Ohio State's number 1. Best defense. You can't score too many points against Ohio State. You can't. Less than 70 points in 9 games? Come on now. 7.2 points a game? I don't care who you playing. I don't care if you playing Our Little Sisters of the Poor You every week. You can hold every team, especially teams in the Big Ten and a Power 5 conference, to less than 20 points a game on a consistent basis. I mean, the most anybody has scored on Ohio State this year is 16 points. And that was Illinois back in, I think, week 6, 7 or something like that. That's the most any team has scored on them. And we are like, what, 2/3 through our schedule? We like 2/3 of the way through the season? And the most that any team has scored on Ohio State is 16 points. That's saying something. I don't care who you play. I don't care how you schedule, how tough or weak your schedule is. You can hold teams to less than 20 points in college football weekly. Plus, you got a Heisman Trophy candidate at QB, a Heisman Trophy candidate at wide receiver. What more do you need? That's the crazy thing about Ohio State. They don't put up 50, 60 points a game. They don't need to. This year, they don't need to. This is a team that you're not going to outscore because they're not going to let you score. They're not going to let you drop 20, 30 points on them. You have to be damn good to do it. You have to be damn good, and Ohio State has to be real sloppy with the ball to score. When Penn State scoring on them, scored 2 touchdowns on them. One of them is because Ohio State turned the ball over. If they don't turn the ball over, they hold Penn State to 1 touchdown, and that's it. That's it. If they turn the ball over, that's your best chance to score on them. But if it's a straight up game and they take care of the ball, you have very little chance to score on them. That's why Ohio State's number 1. And when you hear about Indiana, they had a close escape. They had a very close escape, a miracle escape against a team that's not even ranked. Don't even have none of those, what you call it, teams with points, teams receiving votes. They ain't even there, and they just escaped them. Escaped. A&M does not have nowhere near a formidable defense than Ohio State. They don't. They can put up points, which is why they're undefeated. They can put up points with the best of them. But they also have to outscore teams. They had to outscore Notre Dame to beat them. It's not like they held them to 10 points in Notre Dame. No. Notre Dame dropped 40-something points on them. And just A&M just had a little bit more gas in the tank in the end. That's why they're undefeated. But I'm saying, I'm going by the stats. Ohio State deserves to be number 1. That's my argument for Ohio State being number 1. Their defense. Best in the nation, and it's not even close. No one's defense can say different. No one can say different. You hold teams to less than 8 points a game, and we are 2/3 of the way through the season. 2/3! Actually, 3/4 if we're looking at it. We're 3/4 of the way through the season. We're on like the last quarter of the season. And they've held teams to 7.2 points per game on an average. 65 points total. Some of these teams are giving up that much in 2 games, maybe 3. They've given up that many points through 9 games. There's no question Ohio State is number 1. Now, if the committee in their infinite wisdom would put Indiana or Texas A&M number 1, I wouldn't have no problem with it. I would not have a problem with it whatsoever. I would not be on the Twitters or on any other social media beefing and crying and what is that? That's not me. We just let games play out because if they all got games remaining. Ain't no telling what can happen. Ain't no telling what can happen. A&M, they still got a biggie against Texas in Austin. That ain't gonna be no cakewalk. Indiana has the easiest. They have a bye week, and then they play 2 scrubs. And then they play 2 scrubs to end the season. At home against Wisconsin and their traditional rival Purdue. They have the easiest. Ohio State, they got two games at home against UCLA and against Rutgers, and then the game. If y'all don't know what I'm talking about when I say the game, that's the annual game against that team up north, Michigan. And this time it's in Ann Arbor. They have lost. Ohio State has lost to Michigan 4 straight times. So that's not no guarantee. That one and Michigan, as you can see right there, they're ranked. They're ranked top 20. So they ain't scrubs. So it's not like Ohio State is playing a scrub at the end of the season. They're playing not only a ranked team, but their arch rival on the road. The team that has beaten them 4 straight years. That's not going to be easy. It never is. Records, stats don't mean nothing when them two get down. It's who wants it more. So Indiana has the easiest road, although if Ohio State and Indiana went out, they're both going to be meeting for the Big Ten championship. But Indiana has the easiest road regular season wise, and they'll still has to finish their season in Austin to play Texas. And Ohio State has to go to Ann Arbor. So all this could change. Even in the last week, it could be in the last week of the season. I don't expect the top 5 to change much at all this week, next week, or the week after. But the end of November, we can see some movement. We can see some big time movement. That's traditional rivalry week. Alabama got to play Auburn. A&M got to play Texas, Indiana, Purdue, Georgia. Got to meet Georgia Tech in Atlanta. Right there. Ohio State, Michigan. This win, I believe, all this noise is going to be decided. Not the conference championship game. Of course, the automatic qualifiers, there might be some movement, but the movement in the college football playoff rankings, we're going to definitely see. We'll probably see a little bit more movement in the next couple of weeks, but we're going to see some hellacious movement last week of November. But that's rivalry week. That's when most of these teams play their traditional rival. Who knows what's going to happen? Vanderbilt going to play Tennessee. That's right. There's going to be a lot of movement. You have to expect that. Like my man Stephen A. Smith said, this list is fluid. And it is fluid. But enough about the top 3. What else stands out? I believe, why did BYU only fall to 12? They got spanked. I know they got beat by Texas Tech, but I know there's only got 1 loss. But 12? Nah. Why? My eyes is why is Georgia Tech lower than BYU? BYU got spanked. Oh yeah, Georgia Tech, they got spanked too. I get both teams my spank. But Georgia Tech, ACC ain't one. Come on now. I know the ACC is down, but it's like they're not showing Georgia Tech much love. They're not showing the ACC too much love. Period. Miami, the highest ranked ACC team is Miami at 15. They're not showing the ACC no love, really. Miami, Georgia Tech, Virginia, and Louisville, and don't forget Pittsburgh. But they all 15th or lower in the rankings. Like I said, these teams got work to do. And they're going to need the Georgia Tech. They need to win out and get a big time win on a neutral field against Georgia. When these two teams meet at the end of the regular season, it will be in Atlanta. Georgia Tech needs it. Georgia Tech needs that win. And I don't mean when I say Atlanta is on Georgia Tech's home field, it would be in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. They mean on a neutral site. However, it can feel like a home game for one of these two teams. Atlanta's only about an hour's drive from Athens, and Georgia Tech is in Atlanta. So one of these two teams is gonna feel like a home team. But Georgia Tech needs this win badly. Georgia can afford to lose a game and they'll still get in because their only loss is to Alabama. Georgia Tech, I know they've only lost one game, but it was a bad road loss. They need to win out if they want to. If they want to give the committee any chance, and then of course win the ACC championship. This is the one loss team that can't afford to lose another game. One of the ones is Georgia Tech. I'm just wondering why they got them below BYU. That didn't make no sense to me. As bad as BYU lost, I know it was to Texas Tech, but as bad as they lost, they should be 16, and Georgia Tech should be at no worse 14. They should be at no worse 14. Because Vanderbilt got 2 losses. Georgia Tech only has 1. I know, I know what y'all are gonna say. They got 2 good losses. One to Alabama. So what? They lost 2 games. Georgia Tech didn't. They've only lost 1. I get tired of people talking about, oh, they were good losses. They were losses. Ain't no such damn animal in my vocabulary as a good loss. Only the people that take this to credence, college football playoff, would consider a loss a good loss. Like they're saying the Texas loss to Ohio State was a good loss because you lost to the number 1 team in the country. It's still a loss. Nobody wants to lose and say, oh, that's good. Give me a break. Nobody says that. Who the hell wants a good loss? No, you want, I'd rather have an ugly win. Nobody likes good losses. Ooh, this is a good loss. It's a loss. What people gonna say Alabama's loss to Florida State was a good loss? Where Florida State at in these rankings? Nowhere to be found. That's why I get all this flack on the TikTok and everything else talking about Alabama should be number 1. Don't give me that shit. Please don't give me that shit. Alabama don't deserve it. They deserve to be right where they're at. 4th. The only reason why you ain't 5th is because the team you beat is 5th. But you lost to a bad team who is nowhere to be found in these rankings. Nowhere. So don't tell me that's a good loss. It isn't. Ain't no such thing as a good loss. Not to me. It's a loss. If you were good enough, you would have won the game. So don't give me this good loss. Vanderbilt, you weren't good enough. You got better, but you weren't good enough. You lost to Alabama. You lost to Texas. Why are you in front of Georgia Tech, who has only 1 loss? Don't tell me if Vanderbilt wins out, they should get in. Bullshit. Bullshit. You gonna stick Vanderbilt in to the playoff over Georgia Tech if Georgia Tech ends the season with only 1 loss? Bullshit. Vanderbilt ain't going to the SEC championship game. Georgia Tech might. Right now, Vanderbilt should be 16th. Georgia Tech should be no worse than 14th. That's how I see it. That's one little area of hiccup I got with these rankings. You're going to put Georgia Tech. That's disrespecting the ACC. I know they've had a little bit of a down year, but damn. Not all the teams suck like that. Georgia Tech should be 14th. So they should have at least a fighting chance. You got Vanderbilt 14. They lost 2 games. I don't want to hear about, oh, they were good losses. Bullshit. They lost. I don't want to hear about, well, they were in the SEC. They've been in the SEC all these damn years. They're just now turning around and getting good. But they still lost 2 games. They should not be ranked higher than a team that lost only 1. No matter what conference they're in. That don't make sense to me. Hell, if you look at it, Texas is ranked too high. They lost 2 games. They should be, no. Oklahoma too. Those teams are ranked too high. Why? Because they're in the SEC. They lost 2 games. BYU only lost once. Georgia Tech has only lost once. Don't talk to me about SEC bias, because it's all a bunch of crap. That's all it is. Because I ain't sold on none of them teams if they make it to the college. Oklahoma, Texas. I'm not sold on them if they get into the college football playoff. Believe they'll be one and done. One and done. Period. Georgia Tech should get at least have an opportunity to have a swinger's chance to make the college football playoff to sit in the 8-1. Why is Vanderbilt higher than them? Oh, because of the quality of losses? That's nonsense. It's nonsense. They lost 2 games. You lose 1 more. You're going to put a 3-loss Vanderbilt team in over a 1 or 2-loss Georgia Tech? Really? Because they lost three quality losses? They're still losses! There's no such goddamn thing to me as a quality loss. I don't want to hear it. If it's such a quality loss, why did you win? I'd rather have the ugly win than the quality loss. It drives me nuts. But that's what the committee is doing. To talk about quality losses. They're still losses. There's no team with 2 losses, no matter what conference they're in. Especially if they're in the Power 4 conference. No team with 2 losses should be ranked above a team with only 1 or none. That's just how I see it. I don't want to hear about strength of schedule, strength of record, what conference they're in, and blah, blah, blah. You lost 2 games. I don't care. You lost 2 games. If this was a 14 playoff, you wouldn't even be in the mix. And you know it. If this was just a 14 playoff, if this was just a 14 playoff, like it was a few years back, this is right here. That's it. That's it. These 3 in either Alabama or Georgia, flip a coin. Everybody else, you getting in where you fit in. And we know it. 2 losses, you can forget it. So now we're going to have a criteria where we might have a 3-loss SEC school in the playoffs. You know damn well they wouldn't do that to a Big Ten school. Let Ohio State lose 3 games, we wouldn't even be on this map. Let Ohio State lose 2 games, we'd be probably down here somewhere because of the bias. I know the SEC bias is strong. I know it is. But we also got to look at the real deal here. You shouldn't slight a team for having a good season over a team that having an okay season. Simply because the team that's having an okay season is in the SEC. And the team that's having a good season, possibly great season, is in the ACC or the Big Ten or the Big 12. That's BS. And we're talking about, and they've been talking about the college football committee and all the NCAA and all these schools and all these conferences. want to bring back parity. How you gonna speak of parity when you're doing this shit in the playoff rank? When you ranking a one loss team lower than a 2-loss team just because they had quality losses. It's still 2 quality losses, 2 to their 1. That's got to change. I doubt if it would, but it should. That's the only beef I have with these rankings. That's it. With the top 3, flip a coin, pull a rabbit out of your hat, do what you want to do. Do as you will. But Georgia Tech should be ranked higher than Vanderbilt. I believe that. And I think BYU didn't fall far enough the way they got whooped. They didn't fall far enough. They should be somewhere around here. 15th to 18th. They didn't fall far enough, in my opinion. That's the college playoff rankings for November 11th, 2025, the second week of the college playoff rankings. That's my beef on it. That's my spiel on it. That's my big mouth interpretation of it. What do you think? Drop me a comment. And don't forget to click that like and subscribe. I would appreciate it very, very much if you hit that like and subscribe. Big O with a big mouth in the total sports ozone. Now, let's flip it to the NFL. And if you haven't noticed, and you probably have, but if you haven't noticed, the hierarchy in the AFC has been flipped. If you ain't noticed, you better notice it. The hierarchy looks like it's been flipped so far in 2025. We all came in talking about it being the Kansas City Chiefs, Buffalo Bills, and the Baltimore Ravens, the three best teams in the AFC with the 3 best chances, with the teams with the best chances to make it out of the AFC to go to the Super Bowl. Right now, let's look at the standings. The Ravens are second place, 4-5, 1 game behind Pittsburgh. The Buffalo Bills, 6-3, but they're a game and a half behind New England. That's right. The 8-2 New England Patriots. The Kansas City Chiefs are in 3rd place in the AFC West at 5-4. A good 2.5 games or something like that. 2.5 games behind Denver. And the Indianapolis Colts. Well, you got the hierarchy has changed. Because you have New England, Indianapolis, and Denver all sitting at 8-2. All 3 of them. My question to you is, has the hierarchy changed? Has the hierarchy changed? Are we seeing changings of the guards in the AFC? Are we seeing out with the old, in with the new? I mean, Bo Nix, he's relatively new quarterback in the NFL. Drake May, definitely new quarterback in the NFL. And Daniel Jones is probably looking at the biggest reclamation project or most successful reclamation project we've seen in recent years in the NFL. All 3 of those quarterbacks got their teams atop their divisions at 8-2, and they look like they're just humming along. I mean, think about it. These 3 teams need to do is win about, let's say 3 games. They all got what? 8-2, that at least 7 games remaining. All they need to do is win 3, and they're in the playoffs. They guaranteed playoff spots. 3-3. Depending on how the rest of the teams shake out, all you really need to do is win 3. That gets them to 11 wins, and that's going to get you a playoff spot in the AFC. No doubt about it. And right now, they're right there near it. 8-2. So let me ask you, has the hierarchy changed? Could any one of these three teams realistically have a chance to make it to the Super Bowl? I say one of them does. One of them does. I wish I knew which one. One of them does. Now, I would like to say Denver because out of these three, Denver has the best defense. They've only allowed 173 points a game, or 173 points on the season. So that's about 17 points a game. Colts have allowed 20 points, a little over 20 points a game. New England, just under 20 points a game. So out of all these three, the Denver Broncos has the better defense. But their offense, wishy-washy. It's just as simple as that. They only scored 235 points on the season. That's 23.5 points a game. But it's been real shaky the past couple of weeks. Their offense. I mean, yeah, they exploded for 44 points against Dallas Cowboys. Well, I think my mother could score 44 points against the Dallas Cowboys' shaky, hot garbage of a defense. But against a formidable defense, they've been shaky. They've been really, really shaky. Their offense. That's why I'd say when I say that one of them could possibly do it, I don't think it would be the Denver Broncos. They have to fix their offense. They got to get the ball to Cortland Sutton. J.K. Dobbins, get the ball to him. And y'all keep forgetting, J.K. Dobbins not only can run the ball, he can catch it out of the backfield. So set up some screens get creative. Sean Payton, you got to get your offense creative. You got a great defense. Now you got to get some little creativity in your offense. Because right now, when I see your offense, it's plain Jane. It's plain Jane and easy to predict. You got to get that. You got to get some little creativity in that offense. Now, is it the New England Patriots? I want to say it, but they've had a lot of close wins. A lot of close wins. Like a play here, play there, could win either way. They would have lost. Technically, they should have lost 2 of their last 3 games. Play here, play there. But they pulled out the win. So I don't know if they've been lucky or just living right or whatever. But I have to say, of those 3 teams, the Broncos, the Colts, and the Patriots, the one team I believe that can actually go far in the playoffs, Indianapolis Colts. Why? That team can run the ball. Of all 3 of these teams, Indianapolis can run the ball. Jonathan Taylor, did y'all see what he did against Atlanta over the weekend? I know it was an early game on Sunday, but you see what he did to Atlanta? And and Atlanta's not the only one he's been doing that to. He's been doing that to almost everybody in the league except the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's been running over and around and through people. If he doesn't win, unless he gets hurt, if he does not win AFC Offensive Player of the Year, somebody somewhere screwed up. That's just how I see it. Somebody somewhere then screwed the pooch. Plus, Daniel Jones, like I said before, he's probably one of the most biggest and most successful reclamation projects we've seen in a while. Because he's taking care of the ball. He's not making crazy decisions. And he's getting the ball to the receivers where they want him. And they're scoring points in bunches. They scoring points in bunches. And the thing is, with a running game like the Colts have, he don't need to win the game. He just don't have to lose it. That's all. Take care of the ball. Don't throw too many interceptions. Don't fumble the ball around. Just take care of the ball. Get the ball to your playmakers. Let them work. With a running game like that, You're gonna go for it. Because he can basically just manage the game. He don't need to have to win it. You can just when you can run the ball like that, that means you can control the tempo. You can control the clock. You don't have to play hero ball. At least not all the time. So all he can do is just sit back, make sure you take care of the ball and enjoy the show. That's Daniel Jones right now. And it's working. 8-2 is 8-2. But that's the team of those three. Broncos, Colts, and the Patriots. The Colts are the one that I could believe would come out of there to go to the Super Bowl. If I had to pick one of those three, I'm picking the Colts because they can run the ball. They can run the ball better than the other two teams, period. And in December, January, I know the Colts playing indoors, but there might be a time when they might have to play outdoors. I don't know. But it doesn't matter, indoors, outdoors. If you can run the ball in the playoffs, you control the tempo. You control the pace, the flow of the game. You keep you run the ball. You're keeping that ball out of the other team's hands, and they got less possessions to work with. That's why I picked the Colts. They run the ball the best. Jonathan Taylor, if he stays healthy, AFC Offensive Player of the Year, mark it down. That's how I see it. But the hierarchy has flipped. This year, it's flipped. Now, excuse me. Now, can the Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Bills make the playoffs? Of course. Of course. I believe two of those three will. I believe two of those three teams will make the playoffs. I don't know which two, but two of those three teams will make the playoffs. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Like I said, you never sleep. What I've said about Kansas City, I'll say it again. You never, ever disrespect Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs. You do not take them for granted. They are the defending AFC champions until somebody beats them. So you don't sleep on the Chiefs. I know they're 5-4 right now and they slide a little bit, but I wouldn't doubt them. And I'm telling you right now, don't doubt the Kansas City Chiefs. All I'm gonna say, don't doubt them. But I believe two of those three, out of the Ravens, Bills, and Chiefs, two of those three will definitely be in the playoffs at the end of this season. But the hierarchy has flipped. It's not what it was the last 2 or 3 years. These young boys have come to play, and they're playing hard and they're being successful doing it. So we better watch out, especially in AFC. Now let's flip over to the NFC. We're gonna play a little bit of buy and sell. Or at least I'm gonna play a little bit. I don't do the stock market, and I don't do all that stock exchange stuff, watching stocks and bonds. But I'm gonna still play a little bit of buy and sell. I'm gonna pick 5 teams out of the NFC. Five teams. I'm gonna actually do 6. 6 teams out of the NFC that I'm gonna either buy them, being the contender, go to the Super Bowl, or I'm gonna sell them. And I'm gonna let you know why. First, let's start from the East. We'll start by division from the East all the way to the West. So we start with the NFC East. Philadelphia Eagles sitting at 7-2. Lead the only team in the NFC East that has a record above 500. Am I buying or am I selling? Their chances to go back to the Super Bowl. Am I buying it or am I selling it? Buy. I know there's been a lot of infighting and the offense has looked nowhere near as fluid as it did last year. But you're 7-2. You're 7-2, and you're in a very weak division that you should win going away. I believe by the time the playoffs come about, they will have fixed their offensive problems. I believe they will. So I'm buying I'm buying the Eagles. At least with given a chance to go back to the Super Bowl. Let's move on. Ain't nobody else in that division worth even talking about. Now, let's move on to the NFC North. You got the Detroit Lions tied with the Chicago Bears at 6-3. I'm focusing on the Detroit Lions. Am I buying or selling their chances of making the Super Bowl? Last year, they were the best team in the NFC. Had the best record. I believe it was 15-2. Didn't make it out. Didn't make it out past the divisional round. Got picked off at home by Washington. I believe they've learned their lessons. I honestly believe that team had that loss right here in the middle of their brain all off season. And that's probably why they they were probably licking the chops to go to Washington and give it back to the Commanders, and they did. So, but I believe that experience of them losing after getting home field advantage and losing at home to the Washington Commanders, I think that's going to fuel them. They were already a great team before that, especially on offense. But I think that loss will fuel them moving forward, especially when they get in the playoffs. Because I'm pretty sure they don't want to have no parts of that happening to them again, especially if they get home field in any round of the NFC playoffs. So I'm buying the Detroit Lions. Their offense is just that formidable. I'll buy the Detroit Lions. Now, let's look at the Tampa Bay Bucks. Hey, Baker Mayfield's having a wonderful year. He is. He's having one of those years that he's putting himself back on the map as one of the better quarterbacks in the league. But I'm not so sure about that defense, especially with all the injuries coming up, and even on the offense, the injuries are going to eventually catch up to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think the Buccaneers have done a lot with less because of injuries, but in the playoffs, I don't think it will be enough. So, buying or selling the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I gotta sell them. I just think those injuries will be too much to overcome if they go into the playoffs banged up. Just too much to overcome. So I gotta sell the Buccaneers. Next, the Seattle Seahawks, sitting at 7-2, tied for with the Los Angeles Rams for best record in the NFC West. Now, buying or selling? I told y'all yesterday, Seattle is one of two teams in all the NFL who has yet to lose on the road. You know how hard that is? You know how difficult that is? They're 4-0 on the road. The road. 4-0. You know how hard it is to do that? They've done it. They're one of those teams, and I think they've gotten stronger as the weeks gone on. Jackson Smith-Njigba, if he isn't in the running for NFC Offensive Player of the Year, somebody's gone delusional. The man could get 2,000 yards receiving this year. He is that good. He can get open pretty much whenever and however he wants. And Sam Darnold, he was this good last year in Minnesota. Remember, he went 14-3 last year in Minnesota. People were sleeping on it. It was just a system. It wasn't that. It's just the system. Well, look at Minnesota now. They're 4-5 with J.J. McCarthy. Where are the Seahawks? 7-2. Keep on rolling. Well, you might want to start showing a little love to Sam Darnold. I ain't saying he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, but damn, you can't argue with the results. He went 14-3 last year with the Minnesota Vikings, and right now he's 7-2 with the Seahawks. You can't argue with that. That's 21 wins so far in a year and a half. You can't argue with the success. The numbers don't lie. And you might want to consider the fact that Sam Darnold is pretty damn good. I don't think he's the next Pat Mahomes or next Josh Allen. He's pretty darn good. You might want to start showing him a little bit more love. That's all I'm saying. Just a little bit. But am I buying the Seahawks? Yeah. Yes, I am. Their defense is one of the best in the NFL. And defense travels. And obviously, traveling with this team, they haven't yet to be beaten on the road. And now with their offense clicking, Sam Darnold, Jackson Smith went, and they getting Shaheed, what is it? Raheed Shaheed. He's coming too. Seattle's gonna be a tough out in the playoffs. Trust. They're gonna be tough. I gotta buy the Seahawks. I have to buy them. Now, the two more wild card ones. One, the Chicago Bears. Do I buy or sell the Chicago Bears? I want to buy them, but Caleb Williams is too up and down. He's just too up and down like a yo-yo. And like I said, I don't know too much about the Dow Jones average and stocks and bonds, but I know down is bad, up is good. I just don't know what he's going to be from week to week. I mean, last week, yeah, he beat the Giants. Woo. Let me see him do that against the Packers. Let me see him do that against the Lions. Excuse me. That's who I wanted to see him do, to have those kind of performances. I mean, they were down in the fourth quarter. I know Chicago, Caleb Williams has led the Bears to 4 wins when they were behind in the fourth quarter. That's all well and good. But can you give those performances where you ain't got to come from behind in the fourth quarter against the Detroit Lions, against the Green Bay Packers, in your own division? That's what I need to see before I can say I'm buying or selling. Right now, I'm selling. Right now, it's a small but firm selling of the Chicago Bears. I got to see more from Caleb Williams. It's like he's getting there, but I got to see more. I got to know. I got to see more consistency from him. That's all I need to see. More consistency at the quarterback position. Then I can flip it from sell to buy. But right now, it's a sell. But got an asterisk on it. Sell with an asterisk. That is subject to change. That's what that asterisk means. And I'm going to give you one more. The Los Angeles Rams tied with the Seattle Seahawks. Them two got a big game this weekend, I believe, in Los Angeles for first place in the NFC West. They're sitting at 7-2. Their offense is humming along like a dang locomotive. The defense, not too shabby, allowing only 153 points total through 9 games. So their defense is very formidable. Their offense, what can you say? Just humming along. All right, am I buying or selling the Los Angeles Rams? I'm buying all the way. I put all my... Matter of fact, that's the team I believe has the best chance to go to the Super Bowl. The Los Angeles Rams. I know the Eagles are still the defending Super Bowl champions, but they got offensive issues. I know the Detroit Lions have that great offense, but the offensive line tends to get beaten up by stronger teams. Ask the Minnesota Vikings. The Rams, they don't have a weakness. They don't have too many weaknesses, if at any. They don't. They're just humming along. The Rams, humming along. And as long as Matthew Stafford and Tua and the boys stay healthy, That's going to be the toughest out in the NFC to try to deal with them boys, especially if they get home field advantage. Now, I know in SoFi Stadium, it may not mean nothing, but who knows? But then again, they might want to get you on the road. The 4-1 on the road. And their only loss was like a very frantic comeback win by the Philadelphia Eagles. That was their only loss on the road. This team is that formidable. I'm buying the Los Angeles Rams. So that's my buy and sell. I'm buying the Rams. I'm buying the Seattle Seahawks. I'm buying the Detroit Lions. No, I'm buying the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm selling. I am selling the Tampa Bay Bucks, and I'm selling the Chicago Bears. So 4 buys and 2 sales. Selling the Bears, selling the Bucks. They have a chance to make me change my mind in the coming weeks. But for right now, that's how I do it. 4 buys and 2 sales. What do you think? Let me know. Please drop a comment. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. I know I post shorts on TikTok. So follow me on my TikTok. Total Sports Ozone. Total Sports Ozone on my TikTok. I post short clips to my TikTok every day. So you want to see me run my big mouth about what I've been talking about? Want to hear it again? Check me out on TikTok. Total Sports Ozone. Okay? Time for the big old with the big mouth to shut up and get out of here. I will see you tomorrow. We're going to preview the Thursday night football game. I believe the Thursday night football game was going to be a good one. At least I hope it's going to be a good one. It not well, maybe. New England hosting New York Jets. That's tomorrow. Oh yeah, we're gonna get into a little bit of NBA talk. I wanted to talk about Nico Harrison more today. I've done enough yelling, and they know what they need to do. But we'll talk more NBA tomorrow. All right, Big O with the big mouth signing off. You're in the Total Sports Ozone. See ya.